Kenny in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
You're live with Eric and Jamie.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm
I'm
exhausted.
a survivor.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to work harder.
I've come back from leave, and I'm a little tired, but I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to talk to you, Kenny. What would you like to talk about?
Wonderful. Yes, I've been trying to call the show for like a month now. I think the last time I was on was with Jamie, with Phil.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, hello?
Hey. Hey.
Yeah, hi. Sorry, I'm actually out of the house. You guys caught me while running around. Anyways, the thing I wanted to talk about was religious sanitation.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
Oh, yeah, and I misread the comments, and I said sanitate, or septic or something.
Like
Never mind, sorry.
Could you talk to us about it and let us know what you mean?
Sure. So what I mean is like, I use the example, God's Not Dead. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how, like with the movie, it presents Christianity as a nice thing, a positive thing. They omit all negativity to the religion. So I think it's more just presenting your religion in a good way and trying to avoid ever bringing up anything negative that your religion is responsible for or is related to. That's typically what I mean by religious sanitation. I think Saad, the caller from like when he was talking with Matt and Muhammad, I think that's a great example of it. Like apologetics beforehand. So what I really wanted to do was just get your opinions on it. Like, what do you think? And also, I wanted to make a YouTube channel addressing the subject, but I'm not really a scholarly person like you two, so I wanted some advice.
Oh, we're just two assholes that talk on the internet, man. I'm sorry to pop your bubble, brother. But my viewpoint on the God's Not Dead piece, right, the religious sanitation part, the view that I have is it doesn't just paint a rosy picture about Christianity. It creates a very divisive, very cruel image of atheists.
Yeah.
And that's brutal. I don't like that. I don't like mischaracterizing Christians, and I really don't like it when they mischaracterize me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I would say that movie has created a stereotype, or feeds into a stereotype where it is damaging to a group of people. I really don't like that. I would urge you not to use that as an example or as an exemplar of anything, but I don't think that's your point. As for Saad, what about Saad? I'm sorry, I feel like I missed the train there.
Sorry, it's raining outside here. I don't want to throw him under the bus, but it was the argument or feedback he got with Matt when he called, and Matt mentioned Muhammad and Aisha. So I think it's like presenting Muhammad as a positive figure and never mentioning anything negative related to him or negative about the Quran. I'm sorry, I don't know Saad, so I don't want to try and...
No, that's okay. Actually...
He seems like a nice person.
Well, Kenny, I am very happy to tell you that Saad is on our lines, and I'm going to merge these calls so you can ask him yourself.
Okay.
Saad, how are you doing?
Hey, how are you? I'm good.
Hello.
So, Kenny, do you want to ask him your question?
Yeah. So my question was about religious sanitation, presenting your religion as good, or just omitting any bad when talking about your religion. One example was God's Not Dead, or the chat you had with Matt a few weeks ago about Muhammad and Aisha. So it's like never mentioning anything bad Muhammad has done or has said or anything negative that the Quran... Basically, you're not trying to make your religion sound negative.
Well, do you have a response for that?
Yeah, I have. So if you ask anyone who's formed any religion, they're always going to first and foremost defend their faith and defend the founder of the faith, whether it's Jesus, Muhammad, or even Buddha for that matter. According to my beliefs, according to my Islamic education, Muhammad is the role model for all mankind. He was the perfect man. He's basically the manifestation of Quran on earth, the Quran on earth. So basically, it's like how when you go to school, a teacher teaches you a textbook, so you have to go to school, or you can just read the book on your own. It's always better to have someone teaching you that. So basically, Islam is what is basically code of life. The Quran is that book that guides you how to live your life in many ways. So
I just want to ask a clarifying question. Can I ask a clarifying question?
Yeah.
I don't mean to jump in on top of you. So, Kenny, it says here that you are a theist caller. Are you Christian? Just asking.
Yeah, I was raised Christian.
So,
I started watching your show back in January, and
I'm so sorry.
it got me
Thank you, like
questioning
and
my
subscribe.
belief. And
Well, the clarifying question that I have is, when I was a Christian, that line was almost verbatim used to talk about Jesus, that Jesus was a perfect human, and that would you also say that your deity exemplifies a perfect person?
My God and Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
He was always presented as the perfect human being. You can't be like him. You can't even strive to be like him. Something that's wrong. You can strive to be like him, but you can't be him. You can't be, perfect and all that.
So Saad and Kenny,
yeah.
I have two claims in front of me.
Yeah.
Both of them are saying that the deity is perfect, right? Muhammad and Jesus Christ, respectively. And I'm trying to determine...
Muhammad isn't really a deity. I just wanted to correct. Muhammad was just a prophet.
He's the prophet.
Okay, sorry.
He never said he was God.
Thank you. I didn't mean to misrepresent that. I'm just saying that the claims that are given is that we have two examples of a perfect person, right, that are exemplars in your respective holy books. Would you both agree to that?
Yeah.
Okay. How can I determine which one, if any, are true? Saad, you've been sitting on the line for a while, so I'd love for you to go first.
Sorry.
That's all good.
I can go first. Basically, I've studied the parts of the Bible, and I've studied the Old Testament, the New Testament. So in both, and I've also studied the Quran. So basically, having read all and then I've spoken to religious scholars, having spoken to two professors who studied religious studies professors. So all of these things. So when I spoke to all these things, everyone who has spoken to has given me unbiased view that the Quran is the most has never been changed since it was made, and which pretty much goes to say that Islam seems to be the more, despite it being the more recent one, it seems to be the more true religion on it corrects a lot of things that Christians and Jews used to believe or still believe. So that's basically in a nutshell why
I want to help guide you, because we need to be very on topic, because we have 3 people on this call and 4 people in this conversation. And so I want to make sure that we're as laser focused as we can be, because we can go down a lot of rabbit trails right now. Right?
Okay, sure.
So I get that. And what I got as an answer that I took away from it is I studied the other holy text. I see problems in that holy text.
I don't know.
Right. Kenny? Kenny?
Yes, hello?
Hey, I was getting some feedback in the back. Everything all right?
Yeah, sorry about that. My friend's trying to talk to me about something.
Totally okay.
Let me mute my mic and let you guys keep talking.
As long as you can still hear it and be a part of this conversation. So what I got out of this is I studied the other side. I see problems in their holy book. I like my holy book better. I don't see any problems in my holy book. Saad, is that an accurate representation of the response that you gave? Or at least in part?
Well, more or less the same, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Kenny, you still there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Awesome. So would you say the same thing? Because I've heard the same thing said from Christians, right? I looked at the Quran. I found problems in it. I like my holy book. I don't see any problems with mine. would your response be about the same, or would it be different?
It would be the same.
Okay, so it sounds like I still am no closer to finding out who's right, huh?
No.
Yeah. And so that's why whenever those arguments come up to us, to atheists, why we're not convinced. Because there's more people in this conversation, and we're not trying to be evil or denigrating. We're not trying to put our fingers in our ears. We're genuinely trying to understand what is true. And so what I would say is, for both of you, to make you both better at this, don't use that argument, because it actually doesn't get you to whether or not it's true. Instead, I would love to give you both a good tool, right? It's the same thing that I did with Otangelo, is you take a look at your claim, not the other person's, because if I rule out Christianity, that doesn't mean it's Islam. And if I rule out Islam, it doesn't mean Christianity. It could also mean Thor, and all these other things, right? You look at your claim and you find falsifiable things about it. How can I prove this is true? If it's true, X is likely. If it's not true, Y is likely. How can we test it? And then you give the evidence for your own book. Saad, I know you've done this a couple times.
Okay.
Kenny, can we all agree all together that is the better way to do it, to represent our own opinion instead of trying to denigrate another's?
Yeah.
Saad?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would always be best to cross-examine your own faith before cross-examining others.
I honestly, I think that if you have used correct tools and you can show objectively, here's how you get to understanding that this is true, you don't need to cross-examine others. You've got it.
Yeah.
But we just need to make sure we've got the best tools. Like, I can show you 1 + 1 is 2. I don't need to be open to 1 + 1 = 27, right? I mean, you can try and show it, but
Well, I in my opinion, I see whenever you do a cross-comparative faith study of any kind, whether it's Islam versus Buddhism, Islam versus Judaism or Christianity, which is the 3 Abrahamic faiths these days. I think you have to be objective, number one. Number two, you have to put yourself out of your current context. You can't say that you're Muslim and you're going to be biased. You have to put yourself in a way that, okay, I'm right now not representing any faith. I'm going to look at this completely objectively and then see what makes more sense logically and otherwise.
But what if...
I agree with you, Saad.
I'm glad you both agree, because then I can hit you both with it at the same time. But what if neither of you is right?
Well, that sort of puts me in the predicament I am now, where it's like, well, which one is the true one? Because all of them have
Or
faults.
if there is a true one.
Yeah, I guess. And they all seem to... Okay, so, like, I was raised to believe that the Bible is true, 100% true, and there's no incoherencies or wrongness in it. But I think with R&R, I was watching his thing. He mentioned the flood story, and I was like, wait a minute. This doesn't make sense at all. Or, like, with the... I think Matt does the slavery thing where it's wrong, and how does God know it's wrong, but then never says anything about it. So I was... those are, like, the main arguments for me. Sorry if I'm getting off track.
No, you're wanting to share, and what that's telling me about both of you, Kenny and Saad, is that there's a respectful, honest, open dialogue where all people involved are willing to be open to the evidence. This is what it looks like, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we need to have more of, because what the call was with Otangelo is very different from what this call is now. Unfortunately, we do have another caller on the line, but I just want to thank both of you from the bottom of my heart. These conversations we need to have more of. I hope to hear from both of you in the future. Thank you.
Yeah.
Eric and Jamie, will I still get another chance to be on the call, or this is goodbye for this week?
We're right toward the end of the show, and I have one more person. And Saad, I want to give you a lot of time. You have great conversations, and I don't think it would be fair. I'm sorry, buddy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care, both of you.
Well, have a hook on me.
Will do. Take care.
Oh, Saad, before you go, happy Ramadan.
Hey, happy Ramadan. Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah. Is it a happy Ramadan or a solemn Ramadan?
Listeners and the callers and everybody who's listening to the show. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.
Yes. All right.